holy crap, they have ninja assassin monk guys and they're flying around, they have their staffs and they're like airbenders, but not, because that's a different thing altogether, but still, it's awesome! Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new episode of Discovering Doctor Who. Today I'm going to be covering the episode called Tooth and Claw. And in this one, the Doctor actually takes Rose, well, they intended to go back to the year 1979 for a reason I can't recall, but as usual, he seems to have a little bit of trouble with his aim when it comes to traveling back in time, and they ended up landing in 1879 and meeting Queen Victoria, which is pretty awesome. I am curious whether or not the whole the Doctor aiming for a certain day, time, and place, whether or not that's going to maintain that like he has really bad aim with that going forward. But you know, that's besides the point. It's this episode was really cool, and it's another one by Russell T Davies that's really enjoyable, in my opinion. I have to say that, you know, good job, Russell. You're doing a great job, even though I said I wasn't going to mention him again in the last episode. I'm a bad liar. Anyway, to get right into it, there's I'm going to switch around the order the way I'm doing these a little bit. I'm going to hit some of my favorite moments of the episode, and rather than sticking to a specific number or making it a top 5 or something like that, these are just my favorite moments from this episode in no particular order. And the first of which is when they're approached by, I guess, the Queen's Royal Guard, and they ask why Rose is so naked for that period of time. And the Doctor introduces himself, or he realizes they're in Scotland, I believe it is. Yeah, they're in Scotland. And he starts speaking in a Scottish accent, which is pretty believable. Good job. However, Rose tries, emphasis on tries, to speak in a Scottish accent, and it's pretty much just as bad, if not worse, than when I tried to imitate English/Scottish accents. It was just really bad and hilarious. I absolutely love that part. And another favorite part of mine is, when they go to what we end up finding out is a place called Torchwood Manor. And they go into a certain room where there's this large telescope where the owner of the manor, his father built this particular telescope. And it's hilarious because the Doctor is like, he's critiquing every little bit of it, and he's just like, am I being rude again? Oh, sorry. And it's just like the way he says it, the way he catches himself, and he's like, oh, I'm being rude again. That was just it was an adorable moment. I really liked that. It was really well done. For I guess a classic David Tennant moment, which he seems to. I try not to hit on particular moments with him too much, because just like with the Ninth Doctor, he steals the show. Like, he's by far, I mean, it's called Doctor Who, and the Doctor is by far the best part of this show. So that's why I try not to hit on too many moments that stick that are really focused on the Doctor himself, because, I mean, it's a given that he's going to be enjoyable and funny pretty much all the time. Now, the next moment that I would like to talk about is, when we find out what the werewolf actually is. And it's an interesting spin on the werewolf lore. Whereas, actually, to the best of my knowledge, there's no real explanation as to where werewolves come from. I don't know the classic mythology. It may have to do with spirits and things of that nature, but in the Doctor Who universe, the werewolf basically is an alien that possesses, well, at least in this timeline, a young human boy, and it grows stronger and grows up through that particular host. And I just found that really interesting because it like in the third episode with Charles Dickens' The Unquiet Dead, what we would usually interpret as being ghosts were actually gaseous aliens. So in this case, the lupine spirit, or lupine alien, I don't think it actually had a name, but it is an alien as opposed to being an actual spirit. So I really like the way that they put that spin on it. And one thing that was really interesting, and I don't know if this is going to be revisited later or not, or if this episode might have a connection going forward, but before he transforms, the person with the werewolf inside of him recognizes Rose as having like a wolf inside of her, basically calling out the fact that the bad wolf, she is the bad wolf, but without really saying it in so many words. So I'm really interested to see if there, like, what connections from this episode are going to be in future episodes, especially in terms of the bad wolf and Rose. One of my next favorite moments of this episode is the actual transfer. Like, I guess it's not even really a moment, but it's an entire section of the episode. It's the transformation and the takeover of the Torchwood Manor, and whatever it is. And just that entire segment is done so well. Now, I will say this, it's like the CG used on the werewolf and the transformation, in the grand scheme of things, are not that good. But compared to the way the Slitheen were portrayed in the previous season, like not when they were just the puppets, but when they were actual CG figures, the graphics have improved vastly. They look relatively really good. The transformation is pretty believable. There are a few moments where it's quite obviously CG, but it's well done, and the people that animated it did you really use shadows and darkness effectively to where it was a legitimately threatening creature. The entire segment there was it was very tense, and again, it's just like because combining the werewolf and also the ninja assassin monk guys. Excuse me. That was just a very tense segment of the episode, and really well done, well written and well directed. I loved that segment. And finally, well, actually no, I numbered it, but I apologize. I'm reading this off of my phone. Another moment is the doctors freak out when he finally figures out how to stop the wolf. It's almost like he has a seizure. It seems like he's jerking around. It's just like, my head. It's like, thinking's hurting him a little bit too hard. It was hilarious to watch, but it was so great because he's figuring out like all the connections and what's going on, and just that whole little segment was brilliant and hilarious, and just a really, at least in this episode, classic David Tennant moment. I locked my phone. The next, one thing that I really liked about this episode, I was on the fence about it at first, but if you've seen the episode where I talked about Dalek from the previous season, there was a moment that really, really bothered me, and it's something that bothers me throughout most media, and it's when there is an honorable sacrifice, but it's completely unnecessary and really does nothing to help. Just like what happened in Dalek, the soldier that is on the staircase trying to stop the Dalek with the pistol when machine guns did nothing to it. That still just irks me. But in this episode, there are actually two honorable sacrifices. And the first one bugged me at first just because bullets can hurt the werewolf. It doesn't kill it, but bullets can hurt the werewolf and make it run away for a little bit. And so, in order to save them some time, I guess it's like the captain of the Queen's Royal Guard stays behind to try and slow down the wolf, and because he took a few shots and it ran away at first. So when the wolf is actually attacking and coming at him, he misses every shot apparently, and that was kind of annoying. But again, knowing that bullets can at least slow it down or hurt it, that made it like, it was an actual honorable sacrifice. He was trying to save them time, and he actually had the ability to do so. So that was one. But also one of the other characters, it's the owner of the Torchwood Estate, the owner of the Torchwood Estate. But he he stays behind because he also wants to try and slow down the wolf, because the doctor figured out what to do, but they might not have enough time, and the wolf is literally right behind them. So he does a noble sacrifice as well. I mean, in his case, he doesn't have a gun. All he has is a sword, and there's really only so much that an untrained person with a sword can do against a werewolf that has basically destroyed everyone else. But again, it's like there is that moment of they need the time, and he does give them just like, even if it's just a few seconds, that little bit of extra time necessary in order for the Doctor and Rose and them to do what they need to do. So 2 successfully done honorable sacrifices in one episode. I personally thought that was great, and it really made up for, again, what happened in the episode Dalek. And just, it made me so happy, because so often the honorable sacrifices are done poorly. And that's just really annoying, and something that I obviously ramble on a lot about. My wife is home. And, and the final moment that I just found absolutely great having to do with this episode was the fact that they apparently, the Queen Victoria gets nicked by the werewolf. And so there's this whole question of, Queen Victoria apparently had hemophilia. My dog's going crazy. The Queen apparently had hemophilia in reality, so was she actually a werewolf? Was it like a werewolf bacteria that she had, and they were just keeping it hidden the whole time? Is the entire royal family actually werewolves? It's ridiculous, but it's hilarious. Moving on from those, there is one thing about this episode that bugged me, and that's this. On the outside, there were these ninja assassins that had taken the guns away from the soldiers that they killed or knocked out, whatever it was. What happened to them? I don't remember them being taken out. I don't remember if they just ran away. It's really, I hate it when they leave things unexplained like that. Apparently these ninja guys, hi sweetie, apparently these ninja guys with guns just disappeared, apparently. And finally, there is one last thing I want to say for this episode. There's a quote. Oh, no, I got back to the right page. The quote I have for this particular episode, they were talking about getting Rose some proper clothes so that she isn't naked, so to speak. And the Doctor goes back into his Scottish accent and says, "She's a feral child. I bought her for 6pence in old London town. It was her or the Elephant Man, so..." Again, it's not as funny when I read it, but when you see it in the episode, it's absolutely hilarious, and it's one of those moments that I'm really just growing to love David Tennant for. Hi there, last second edition that I completely forgot to mention. As a result of this episode, Queen Victoria begins the Torchwood Institute, because she finds the Doctor and Rose to be evil, or of an evil world, and she wants the Torchwood Institute to make sure that people like that and creatures like the wolf stay away from, I guess, the royal family, or at least England. But yes, apparently the establishment of Torchwood, the institute that destroyed an entire civilization of aliens, apparently. But yes, that's all I wanted to say. I will let you continue with the outro of this episode. Pardon the intrusion. Goodbye. Overall, this was a great episode. I found it immensely entertaining. I mean, it's not perfect, but it was just overall great, and I'm ready to go for the next episode. And the next episode will actually be school reunion. Apparently, they're going to be going back in time to Rose's normal time, and Mickey's going to be making a return. Yes, so will we find out if Rose will finally say "I love you too" to him, since she left him hanging the last time they left at the beginning of the other episode, the previous episode, New Earth. Probably not, but that's just little things that bug me because I like Mickey, and Rose, you need to stop doing that. It's not very nice. Calming down. I'm sorry. Everyone, thank you very much for joining me on this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you have any comments about what you think about this episode, what you think about what I thought, I'd love to hear your feedback, and thank you everyone for all the comments you leave. I really enjoy reading them, and some people leaving a lot of factoids about some of the older shows and how they connect to these newer episodes. I always enjoy reading those and learning more about the series as I go along. So thank you all very much, and I will see you next time on the next Discovering Doctor Who.